Welcome to today's painting journey. This is a morning ride through lavender air, a watercolour celebration of Brisbane in Jacaranda season, where violet blooms, timber Queenslanders, and the quiet hum of morning life come together on paper. Today I'll walk you through exactly how I painted it, step by step. So grab your brushes. Let's begin. Step 1. Sketching. We start with a soft 5B pencil and a light hand. I'm drawing the street's perspective lines first. They're the skeleton of the whole composition. Notice how the road draws your eye straight toward the Story Bridge in the distance. I'm keeping these marks loose and gentle. They'll almost disappear under the watercolor washes. Place the houses to the right, the Jacaranda trees to the left, and the cyclist in the foreground. Step 2. Sky and first washes. With the paper well wetted, I drop cobalt blue into the upper sky, letting it bloom and soften naturally. A whisper of yellow ochre near the horizon warms the light and suggests that early morning golden glow. Let the colors find each other. Don't overwork them. While the sky is still damp, I push a soft mix of cobalt blue and burnt sienna into the horizon for the city skyline. Muted, atmospheric, distant. Next, a flowing wash of cobalt blue and lavender sweeps across the Jacaranda canopy on the left. Don't be too careful here. Let the edges bleed beautifully. Then I warm up the right side with yellow ochre and permanent orange for those classic Queenslander timber facades. The lower street gets a grounding wash of permanent orange, burnt sienna, sepia, and neutral tint. And finally, I lay in the cool blue shadows across the road to define the morning light. I would like to tell you about the wet-on-wet technique that I use in my painting. The wet-on-wet technique in watercolor involves applying paint onto a pre-wetted surface, allowing colors to flow, blend, and diffuse naturally. First, clean water is brushed evenly over the paper, creating a damp surface that controls how pigment spreads. Timing is crucial. Too wet, and colors bloom uncontrollably. Too dry, and blending becomes limited. Controlling water-to-pigment ratio is key. More water creates lighter, softer washes, while thicker paint forms stronger shapes within the wet field. This technique is ideal for skies, reflections, and backgrounds, capturing mood, softness, and spontaneity with minimal hard edges. Step 3. Detailing. Now the real storytelling begins. Using a fine point brush, I work into the details of the timber Queenslanders, the veranda railings, the overlapping weatherboards, the corrugated roof catching the morning light. Sepia and yellow ochre build that characteristic warm wood feel. Around the houses, I add viridian and mixed greens for the lush subtropical gardens, keeping the marks loose and gestural, never fussy, to contrast with the architectural linework. The orange car in the midground gets yellow ochre on the roof and burnt sienna warming the body, with sepia and neutral tint dropped into the underside shadows to give it form and weight. I then build the shadows on both sides of the street. This is where the painting really pops. Layering sepia, yellow ochre, and burnt sienna, I let the light cut sharply across the road surface. The Jacaranda tree trunks are painted with drier strokes, pulling upward to suggest the branching structure. And our yellow cyclist, the heart of the painting, gets a bright cadmium yellow jersey with a long, cool shadow stretching behind them on the road. That single figure in motion balances the stillness of everything around it. Step 4. Detailing and highlighting. This final stage is about connecting everything and giving the painting its voice. With a small point brush loaded with sepia, I strengthen the tree trunks, quick, decisive strokes, barely any water. The light pole goes in next, a dry brush stroke of neutral tint, just enough to anchor the street. I add the pedestrians and dog walkers on the right footpath with loose gestural marks. Cobalt blue for the shirt, sepia for the shadows. They don't need faces, just energy and posture. Then I revisit the darkest darks with sepia and neutral tint to punch the shadows and create that strong contrast that makes the light sing. The story bridge in the background gets fine line work in cobalt blue and neutral tint. Delicate, almost sketched, just enough to anchor us in Brisbane. The final touch, and one of my favorites, is white watercolor paint. Not gouache, pure white watercolor, which gives a softer, more integrated luminosity. I pick out the brightest edges of the corrugated rooftops, the glints of light bouncing off the road surface, the top of the cyclist's helmet, and the delicate highlights on the jacaranda branches. These tiny touches of white pull the morning light back into the painting and give the whole scene that feeling of transience, a perfect Brisbane morning, just before the city fully wakes. And that's a morning ride through lavender air, complete. Thank you so much for painting alongside me today. I hope this Brisbane morning brought a little joy and color to your day. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please hit the subscribe button and follow the channel so you never miss a new painting. I'd love to see your version. Share it in the comments below. Until next time, keep painting. Keep seeing the beauty in the everyday. Take care.